Hi, welcome to a special edition of Families of Avalon, because today, since it's Martin Luther King Jr. Day, we're going to talk about Martin Luther King Jr. and the fact that he stood up peacefully for what he believed in and managed to do something that few people thought you could without violence. He was only about 40-something years old when he died, assassinated because somebody was afraid of him. And my son is playing with yarn.
It's fuzzy.
But Martin Luther King Jr. was a prominent leader in the civil rights movement, which is something that not a whole lot of people actually understand anymore because we haven't lived through that. Because back in the 60s, blacks were treated unfairly. Even in the military, they were, thought of as inferior until they started proving they weren't. Because while Martin Luther King Jr. does get a lot of publicity, and he deserves it. I mean, look at what he did. His famous I Have a Dream speech right in front of the Lincoln Memorial. When Lincoln believed that everyone had the right to be equal before the law. And Martin Luther King Jr. showed us that anybody can be a great person. Because he stood up for what he believed in and was not afraid to do what he knew was right. A lot of people, even blacks nowadays, don't understand the impact that he truly had on our country. He wasn't doing this just for the blacks. He was doing this for everyone. It was his dream that everyone had equal opportunities, that everyone had a chance to make the world different and better. Martin Luther King Jr. was a great leader, and I think sometimes we forget about the past because everybody's been pushing for, so many different things, but it's the past that we find something worth learning. And learning is something that I try to do every day. I try to learn something new every day. And I just don't understand why people are trying to erase the past, because think of all the things that have been done in the past that have impacted our world. I mean, Martin Luther King Jr. changed people's perception on people who are different. He showed the world what you can do when you stand up for what you believe. And he showed the world that you could do it without violence. If you want to change the world, be like Martin Luther King Jr. Stand up for what you believe in and don't be afraid. Because there is more good in this world than people believe. And I know my son is being a bit of a distraction right now.
Yeah. As long as you're thinking, no one cares.
But Martin Luther King Jr. also had a family that he loved, and he took care of them. And since that's what we're about, find out something about some famous person you didn't know. I mean, how many people know that Martin Luther King Jr. skipped 2 grades because he was that smart? And how many people know that a black man invented the gas mask that saved thousands of lives in World War I? And that a black man performed one of the first open heart surgeries before anesthetics? And there's a company called Madam C.J. Walker. She was a black woman who became a millionaire because she stepped up and showed the world what she's capable. So it doesn't matter what color your skin is, or your religion, or anything. It doesn't matter, because you can make a difference if you want to. Because everybody has the right to be who they want to be. Everybody has the right to choose their own dreams and to follow those dreams. And Martin Luther King Jr. showed us what happens when you stand up for what you think, for what you believe is right. He had a dream of equality for everyone. And we're not black Americans or, Latin Americans. We're Americans. Because American is the one word that draws us all together. We live in a country where people are capable of greatness. Because we have been given a land of opportunity. And it is those who step outside the stereotypes that, make the biggest difference. So it doesn't matter what color your skin is or anything, because we are capable of doing things that no one else can. And just as the civil rights movement defined that decade of the 60s, let's find something that defines our decade, that shows the world what we can do when we stand up for what we believe. So let's celebrate Martin Luther King Jr. and everyone else who has stood up and made a difference in our world. This is Families of Avalon, and check out my blog at familiesofAvalon.com. Check out our videos on YouTube and Instagram. This is Families of Avalon signing off. Family first and always.